I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, so let's focus on verses 13 through 16. All these died without having received the promises, but they saw them from a distance, greeted them, and confessed that they were foreigners and temporary residents on earth. Now those who say such things make it clear that they're seeking a homeland. If they had been remembering that land that they came from, well, they would have had opportunity to return. But they now aspire to a better land, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for He has prepared a city for them. Hebrews 11, verses 13 through 16. You know, there's a lot of patriarchs in the Bible. You have Abel and Enoch and Noah, Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, all the prophets, so many more. All of these people considered righteous by God because of their faith. Now, faith in and of itself is not sufficient to save a person. God's standard is that people would be perfectly righteous. You cannot be perfectly righteous just merely with human faith. The system of salvation, which allows for our faith to be counted as if it were righteous, that system is called grace. And grace means it is a gift. And it truly is God's gift toward mankind. You see, faith of only human value can be considered righteous if the object of our faith is the one who is completely righteous, and that's Jesus. Now, if I pull the trigger on a pistol, faithfully believing that a bullet will be fired, it's not my faith which has hit the target, it is the bullet. And the bullet is propelled by the object of my faith, that is the loaded pistol. Now consider Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. It says, "For it is by grace that we are saved, God's gift, through faith. And that is not of ourselves, but it is the gift of God. It's not of works, lest anyone should boast." Ephesians 2, 8 and 9. You see, those heroes of the Bible are generally known for the great things which they accomplished, but truly, did they accomplish them? Was it not the Spirit of the Lord working through their faithful belief in the word of the Lord? You see, it's easy to assume that they earned their salvation through these good works which they did. But every Jewish parent would want their children to succeed in the manner of these patriarchs, these tzaddiks, which is a Hebrew word, which means a righteous man. But each of those spiritual giants that I mentioned, and so many more, who we consider to be great men and women of faith, well, each of them was also a human who fell short of God's standard. And the Bible tells us this. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So what is the writer of Hebrews trying to do? He's drawing attention away from the accomplishments of these people, and he is focusing our attention on the root of their success, which is faith. God didn't say, seek to build an ark, or have a child in your old age, or go slay a giant Philistine. What he did was say this, have faith in my word, and go forth and watch me go before you. God is challenging us to employ that same faith which led these patriarchs to accomplish such great feats. The Holy Spirit working through humility and faithfulness as we seek the word of the Lord, well, that is the source of not only the strength of the patriarchs, but that is the source of our strength. It's not by our power or by our might, but by the Holy Spirit that these things are accomplished. So whenever the so-called spiritual giants departed from the path of faithfulness, well, then they ceased to live victoriously. Perhaps King David is the best example, with him and killing the husband of Bathsheba in order to have her as a wife. God is not ashamed to be called the God of those who faithfully respond to his call. Though we may be ashamed of some of our decisions, some of our thoughts or behaviors, God honors the faithfulness of even sinful people when the object of their faith is the one who is perfect and sinless. So most of these heroes of the faith committed extremely faithless acts as well. And the Bible lists them: adultery and murder and drunkenness and cowardice. And yet God recognized their faith as if it were righteous. As the patriarchs did not know when the Messiah would come, we're still unaware of exactly when he will come again. And those whose hope is in the Messiah, Jesus, we see God's kingdom from a distance, and we greet it by living faithfully in our day and waiting for God to unfold his plan in his timing. I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.